Johnson back at you. Happy Monday, everybody. Wintertime in New Orleans, but pretty nice day out there. I mean, a little cold for us. Someone in Minneapolis would be knocking out 18 holes of golf, going outside and playing basketball on the court, playing tennis. Let's clean up the garden before the snow comes later in the week. They'd welcome a day like this. It's not like it's freezing cold. But it is New Orleans, like Drew Brees says, so we'd like 60 instead of 50. But it is nice out there. Temperatures in the 50s, deep blue skies, little cotton, puffy little clouds floating by, look like a cotton ball. It's all good out there in New Orleans. You could drop some coals, do some grilling tonight in your yard. It's comfortable. You could boil some crawfish for steak-like prices. They're about three times their normal cost per pound right now. So hey, I ate 6 pounds of crawfish. It was $34. Now 6 pounds of crawfish will be $134. Like literally. From $34 to $134. But folks are still gobbling them down. I saw one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life, and it was an actual article in the Times-Picayune. And I don't know what it was about. I'm trying to think who it was. I don't think it was the food guy. It might have been the food guy with the Times-Pic. Was it Doug McCash? I just think they were just because it exists, they put it out there. But I don't even think it was worth discussing. It was like frozen boiled crawfish or fresh. And there's a place where you can get frozen boiled crawfish. I don't know if they're from like a year ago. They've been frozen a year now. I don't know when they boiled them, where they're from, but they're regular prices, like $3-4 a pound, $5 a pound, not $15 a pound. But, I mean, I don't know. Who wants frozen, thawed out, reboiled steam? What the hell is it? I mean, the description of it was mushy. The crawfish falls apart in your hand. Yeah, I guess it does. That was like I'm going to projectile vomit now reading this article. Geesh. A Monday afternoon. Speaking of nauseated stomach, I don't mean to bring bad news. I just bring real news, and around here, a lot of the time, it's bad. It's politically corrupt. It's shenanigans. It's nonsense, on and on and on and on. Instead of being, one could argue the largest, at worst, the second largest university as far as enrollment in the state. I don't know where UNO falls now with their 6,600 students. That's how many students attend the University of New Orleans out on the lakefront. 6,600. 6,600. A good 11, maybe 12,000 off their peak. I think UNO at one point had north of 18,000 students for a few years in a row. Definitely north of 16 and 17. I know that for sure. But I think they peaked out, I want to say like 18.6 or something like that. It was north of 18,000. May have been more. May have been north of 19. I know it was definitely, without a doubt, north of 17. And I want to say it was 18,600. UNO has 6,600 students on the lakefront. About 5,500 undergraduates. 5,500. About 1,100 getting their post degree. 6,600 students out on the lakefront. That is shocking to me, just mind-blowing. The UNO dorms, they have SUNO students, Xavier students, Dillard students using them. which is bad for Suno, Xavier, and Dillard, because what they would be doing is raising money and building new dorms like Loyola. Loyola's building more dorms on campus. Tulane building more dorms on campus. Places like the University of Alabama, all they do is build new dorms on campus because their student body is growing. You're trying to grow the school, right? Trying to increase enrollment. Unless you're some, hyper specialty, private school with some kind of ridiculous endowment or funded by Forbes, Fortune 500 type companies. I don't know how you can do it without getting more students to come to your school. I don't know what the pre-Katrina numbers are. I know when UNO opened, late 50s, I want to say by like 1961, their first graduating class was 1962. So 59, the first year freshman class. Real quickly, like in 2 or 3 years, they had 3,000 students. 3,000. About 8 short years later, early 60s, 3,000 students. Late 60s, 10,000 students. We're talking like UNO 60 years ago had the enrollment they have today, this 6,600 number. No, about 10,000 plus in 69. About 12, 13, 14 years later, early 80s, 16,000 plus in the early 80s. And I believe at its peak, I want to say it was 18,600 students. I'll try to get that verified. They're at about a third of that right now. 6,600 students at UNO. I'm kind of blown away by that. 60 years ago, they were at enrollment numbers from 60 years ago. I remember when UNO was at like 18,000 students, and LSU, my school in Baton Rouge, was like at 32,000. LSU is only recently, hey, let's build dorms, let's increase enrollment. They've only recently decided to do that. Stuck at 30, 32,000 students for decades and decades and decades and decades. Alabama was like at 18,000 students. And then in the late 90s, they decided to be an academic school and focus on that, national merit scholars. And enrollment took off. And then Nick Saban got there with football. That was about midway through. Everybody thinks Nick Saban blew up Alabama by football. You can look at Alabama's enrollment numbers. They're increasing dramatically before Saban got there. About 8,000 students or so by the time Saban got there, about 8,000 more after he got there. Just steady increases. So I'm not taking anything away from Saban. That's incredible advertising. Of course that helped. But the plan was pre-Saban, pre-football. It's about academic excellence. And Alabama has like 38,000 students now. Now, I remember when UNO was threatening LSU, like, we could become the largest school in enrollment. And LSU has always tried to keep UNO down. It was LSUNO, Louisiana State University at New Orleans, like LSU Baton Rouge's New Orleans campus. And then UNO wanted to be their own thing. So they got that. They became UNO, dropping the LS part, just UNO. And then finally, about a decade ago only, they got out of the LSU system. They're in the University of Louisiana system. So LSU has nothing to do with them anymore. No, UNO should be fighting neck and neck with LSU and largest enrollment in the state. It's the University of New Orleans. Should be attracting students from the region, from the country, from the world. Come to UNO, the lakefront campus in New Orleans. Are you kidding me? 6,600 students. That's sort of sad. In my day, that was like a couple of John Ehret's is 6,600 students. 2 John Ehret high schools equals 6,600 students. I don't even know what to say about that. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Love to hear from you. Rouse's Markets phone lines 504-766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open 766-9480. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The brass band sounds of New Orleans. It really is the brass band sounds of New Orleans. Good stuff. That would be my Super Bowl halftime dream. We don't need to import any music for next year's Super Bowl in New Orleans. Just put a massive stage up with all kind of different little finger stages, all lit up nicely. You're talking about New York, LA production people doing it with a lot of New Orleans influence. And you got a bunch of brass bands. How many brass bands do we have? A good half dozen that are high-end, top quality known. You put those bad boys up there. Some other horn section groups like a Bonorama type group. And then you put up everybody like from the Neville family, Andrews, Batiste, Marsalis. I mean, come on. Are you kidding? Bartholomew. It's ridiculous. I mean, those families go 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 deep. You can put up the up-and-coming future. The 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds playing their instruments. This is New Orleans. It's the best in the world. Let's get creative with it for the Super Bowl. So you have all our stars like Irma Thomas on down. And then you can put up a big video board with like Louis Armstrong and Al Hurt and Alan Toussaint singing a line or two from a song. You know, I was thinking about over the weekend, you had this Eagles Steely Dan concert. Walter Becker was the guitarist for Steely Dan. If you like him, great. If you don't, you know, you might like him, didn't even know that, whatever. Guy was a great guitarist. I mean, it's almost like in one of these songs, like just cut to an old concert with great audio and let the guitar riff put Walter Becker up on the screen and have that be the guitar solo and just have everybody no lights down on the bottom. And then go back to the real guy playing guitar. I'm saying it's 2024. You can almost do that kind of stuff seamlessly. We could work around Louis Armstrong up on a video board and Al Hurt banging away on the trumpet and Alan Toussaint. So you've got a few hundred of New Orleans and Louisiana's best musicians on this massive stage in the middle at Super Bowl 59 in the Dome next February. And then on the left side, you got the Grambling State Band. And on the right side, you got the Human Jukebox Southern University Marching Band. Couple of marching bands, old school. They used to do Super Bowl, especially Grambling. And then you've got all these New Orleans musicians. We do not need to import a single musician. You get some of that New York, LA production stuff. You could just make New Orleans and our artists and our musicians look fantastic at that high level. Don't have to get Usher. Don't have to get Jay-Z and Beyonce. Don't need to do it. Don't need to import any music. Don't need to get the latest country act. Don't need to do that. We have that Bayou Fest thing, got Essence every year. We got all that covered in New Orleans. We bring in great music in New Orleans. I just mentioned the Eagles and Steely Dan. I think they're 94 years old. Anyway, I'm kidding, but you get it. We bring in all the stuff from the young bands to oldies but goodies. Look at Jazz Fest, Rolling Stones down to the newbies on the block. So we bring it in all the time. For Super Bowl 59, we don't need to import any music. Not a single musician. Zero, nada. Little help, import some production work from LA and New York, that type of thing. Get some input, some bigger ideas, and then a lot of New Orleans production people too, and all those New Orleans musicians. We'll see. I'm going to keep pushing the narrative. Maybe it'll catch on. That's how things have worked in the past. I remember when I was down the dial, had a nighttime program. This Sports Talk days, pre-Katrina, like 20 plus years ago, longer than that, 25, in the 90s. In the old 90s, And I was on after Buddy D, and I used to just talk about the LSU Mike the Tiger cage. This tiger enclosure, this cage from the Huey Long era. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. Build an Audubon society like the Audubon Zoo. That'd be redone in the last decade or two. It was pretty damn good at the time. Still is pretty damn good. Great zoo. And was like, build a real enclosure, a humane enclosure. If you're going to keep a tiger, you've got to make it big and vast and have some room to roam, or don't do it, because how you're doing it now is inhumane, cruelty to animals. And I used to pound that message for years and years and get guests on from LSU. LSU Board of Supervisors. Hey, one parting message. Fix that Mike the Tiger kid. Corey, you're right. That Huey Long era cage is terrible. Thanks for joining me, Board of Supervisor guy. Just constantly pounding the message. There's no plaque. There's like Corey came up with this. It's a great idea. It was obvious. A bunch of other people were thinking it at the same time. Then the momentum gets going and kaboom, you get the reality of it. Hopefully, some other people are thinking of this. Quinn Hillier, right-leaning conservative Quinn Hillier, New Orleans native, lives now in Alabama with his wife, comes on the show. Hillier and Hennigan, right-leaning Quinn, left-leaning Ellis Hennigan. We talk politics and stuff. Quinn posted it on Twitter. Just real simple and basic. He's like, get Dr. Michael White. And he mentioned some of the folks in his jazz ensemble. Was like, get them to play halftime. Just dial it down. Get rid of all this crap. Quinn wrote an article about the Dome. It's too noisy. There's no like break time for your mind. It's constant noise. Sort of makes the highs and lows disappear. Hey, let's get loud. There's a time for it. Quinn's right. He like gave up his season tickets. He said after decades and decades because he's like too noisy. It's right. He's right. Say, oh, that's old school. That's crazy. Whatever. So maybe Quinn is a little old school. Maybe the Dr. Michael White and his jazz ensemble all by themselves, just playing something really good. We can't have like orchestra or something that's like intellectual or a learning thing. It's halftime. It's Super Bowl. People are half drunk. Just have something fun. I hear you. But I'd have Dr. Michael White and his ensemble up there, and they get to riff for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then it goes to another band, another one. The halftime show could be incredible. We Are the World, Live Aid type of thing, all the stars together singing a line or two. Could be great singer, great musician, great band playing a line or two, a riff or two, and then Southern and Grambling's band. I'm going to keep pushing it, because I think it is a good idea. There's already people with partial ideas to this one. And you get that snowball going, maybe that'll be the deal. The real thing is we don't need to import any musicians for Super Bowl 59. We don't need to import any musicians. Hey, the Rouse's Markets phone lines are open, 766-9480. UNO down to 6,600 students. That's a heartbreaking headline. And I don't think it's a headline yet, but it's about to be. 4, 6, 8, 26 times pick. They'll all be talking about it in the next few days. 6,600 students, about 5,500 undergrad, about 1,100 postgrad. These are mid-60s numbers for UNO. These are enrollment numbers from 60 years ago for UNO. A lot of suffering on the lakefront. And there's kind of a flip-flop. There was talk of shutting down USL and Hammond a few decades ago because it was like 6,600 students. Just a small little college. It was redundancy. There's no doubt. You got UNO, you got LSU, and then you got Nichols. It's just like, my God, my brain's going to implode. I could get on a bicycle and ride from one major university to another in rural areas of Louisiana. It's crazy. Not even cities necessarily. But then Hammond and legislators, it's part of the economy. It's part of our culture. It's been here, kept SLU, which is fine. They've now got like 16,000 students in Hammond, building dorms and classroom buildings, fixing up athletics. So right there in Strawberry Country, and by the way, I don't mean to regress. It is strawberry season. Get some fresh strawberries from your Rouses. Get some whipped cream. What a great dessert. No, they've got about 16,000 students. North Shore growth, Hammond, in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, North Shore. It's kind of a flip-flop. UNO, they were the 17,000 students. SLU and Hammond was the 6,600. Now it's a total flip. They done flipped the script, Joe. Joe, by the way, fielding your phone calls at 766-9480. He's at the controls. This 4 o'clock hour brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. Don't go to the national chain paint store. Don't go to the big box store for paint. You go to Helm Paint and Decorating, painting experts that have been doing it 50 plus years in New Orleans. High quality Benjamin Moore products with a lifetime warranty. You'll never, ever paint again, and priced right. 7 Helm Paint and Decorating locations in Metro New Orleans, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore, Mandeville, Hammond. Free 2-hour delivery anywhere in the Metro. Yeah, when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, you go to Helm, do it once, do it right. They'll steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating. Now in Baton Rouge, Capital City, Tiger Town, 4 Red Stick Helm Paint and Decorating locations. Free 2-hour delivery in Baton Rouge. When you got to paint in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, Helm Paint and Decorating.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 airy locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. 504-766-9480. How do we fix what ails UNO? I don't know how we fix it. UNO a generation ago, like 18,000 students. UNO today, this semester 2024, 6,600 students at UNO. For the spring semester of 2024, down to 6,600 students. They're like hemorrhaging a few hundred every semester. 1961, they had 3,000. By the mid-60s, or 60 years ago, they had 6,600. Almost 60 years ago, 6,600 students like today at UNO. By the late 60s, 68, 1969, north of 10,000 students at UNO at the lakefront. A real university. A little over a decade later, from the late 60s at 10,000 students, early 80s, 16,000 plus. And I believe they peaked out at 18,600 or 18,800, something like that. Because I remember LSU, which has a history of kind of trying to stifle UNO, they were concerned, like, damn, UNO could be the largest enrollment school in the state. They should be. Look at sadly, Joe, our producer, lived in Orlando for a long time, and I tell him that really contributes to about 50% of all of his problems in life. Just that short time he stayed in Orlando. Just brutal. I mean, people are like, yeah, I love Orlando. It's like, no, you love Disney World with the family, and you don't leave the grounds. You know, it could be anywhere USA. You're not going into Orlando proper. That's where you go to a top of a building and jump off after 48 hours in Orlando. Really bad town. I think Indianapolis and Orlando are fighting for most boring place to live in America. Indianapolis or Orlando. I was in both places for 5 or 6 days too long. It was like a week in each place. 5 or 6 days too long. Anyway, Orlando and Tampa, University of Central Florida, University of South Florida. No one was thinking these schools are going to become gigantic because we got Miami, we've got the University of Florida, we've got Florida State. Those are still the preeminent schools, but not by enrollment. Central Florida and South Florida in Tampa and Orlando, some of the largest enrollment schools in the United States of America. It's ridiculous. You would not believe it if I told you. Joe, pull up some enrollment number because I don't want to be wrong, but Central Florida and South Florida, it's silly. It's like 68,000 students. It's something ridiculous. They're larger than Florida State, larger than Florida. What school has 69? University of Central Florida has 69. That's the one in Tampa. That's the Orlando one. All right, what about the one in Tampa? What's that, Central or South, whatever? 69,000 students. Now, Florida's got ridiculous growth, but those schools, they're like huge commuter schools that have now diversified to, let's go get regional and national and international students. Let's build dorms and classroom buildings and grow the school and get athletic programs to help with the marketing and promotion. Everybody likes a good sports team. What you got, Joe? Well, that's, the other one's like 60-something thousand too. They're like the same. UNO, 6,600 students. That's 66,000. 67 for what? For Central? Wow. And 69 for South. That's crazy. It's like Ohio State numbers. How do you get UNO? I mean, when UNO was 18,600 or whatever, and LSU was at 32,000 like they had been for years, I figured, in a few decades, UNO will pass LSU, and they'll probably become their big commuter school. They'll probably do some regional and national marketing and get things going and surpass LSU in size. They're in New Orleans. The opposite's happened. Katrina crushed UNO. I mean, it's just like right away, UNO was, I think around then was around 16, 17,000 in 04, 05. Katrina just chopped the enrollment in half. It went from like 17,000 to 8,500. And then it's been on a pretty slow, steady decline. 2024 spring semester enrollment, University of New Orleans, 6,600 students, about 5,500 undergrad, about 1,100 postgrad, 6,600 students. A campus that is designed, buildings, classrooms, dorms for about 3 times that amount, around 16, 17, 18,000 students. That's why SUNO, Xavier, and Dillard students are staying at UNO dorms out on the lakefront. And that's not good. Do both, Joe. And that's not good for Xavier, Dillard, or SUNO. Because then there's not a drive for them to get money to build dorms and classrooms at Xavier, Dillard, and SUNO. Maybe classrooms, because they can be like, hey, you can come and stay at the UNO dorms. But all that's temporary. I mean, ideally it's temporary. UNO gets their you-know-what together. And Dillard, Xavier, and SUNO grow and have to build their own dorms. But that says it all when there are SUNO, Dillard, and Xavier undergraduate students. Their dorm assignment is on the University of New Orleans' campus, staying at UNO dorms. How strange is that? Hey, welcome to Tulane University. We'll be housing you at the Loyola University campus, an entirely different school. They have nothing to do with each other. You'll be staying at Loyola dorms. Welcome to Tulane. That's just crazy to me. You go to SUNO, Xavier, or Dillard. If you're at Xavier or Dillard, I mean, it's not far, but it's like a 6-7 minute ride by car. It's a pretty good bike ride. I'm sure a lot of people are doing the bike ride, having to ride their bike from the UNO dorms on the lake to Xavier or Dillard's campus. I mean, Xavier's a hike to mid-city. Dillard's, I don't want to ride that ride every day. That's just right up Franklin Avenue, but it's still probably, I would think the dorms at UNO to Dillard's campus on Gentilly Boulevard, it's got to be about 3 miles. And then to Xavier, it's got to be somewhere around 5. Just too long, too far. SUNO is right next door, but still, you're just a student on foot. You wake up at the UNO dorms and you've got to walk to SUNO to class. And if it's the dorms on UNO's campus proper, not the East Campus, that's a little bit of a hike. It's about a mile hike. No one wants to do that. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, like I said in the previous segment, kind of a flip-flop. USL and Hammond, Southeastern and Hammond, they've got UNO's old enrollment numbers from 20, 30 years ago. And UNO has USL's, Hammond's enrollment numbers from 20, 30, 40 years ago. About 16,000 plus students. Pull that up, Joe. USL Hammond enrollment. Oh, Google. Oh, Google. I think it's 16,000 something for the, I haven't checked it in about 14.2 is what it is this semester. Okay, maybe they never made it to 16. Thought it was 16. 14,200. I'm glad you checked it. UNO less than half. UNO has less than half. Southeastern has about 2.5 times the enrollment of UNO. Almost 2.5 times. That's crazy. I'm not knocking Southeastern. Good for them. Continue to grow. Continue to grow. Continue to be an economic engine for Hammond and the North Shore. Grow the campus, build dorms, build classroom buildings. Nothing wrong with that. Continue to grow. 20,000, 30,000 students. I'm all for it. Go, USL. Go. And by the way, send me a pint of strawberries. But UNO, 6,600 students is brutal. The legislative crime special session's underway. I don't know with what carrying out more death row executions means, what it does. Restrict parole eligibility. I didn't know we had a parole problem. Damn, parole boards are letting everyone out. I didn't know that was a problem in Louisiana. I thought we had the opposite problem. Too many old incarcerated inmates. I thought that was the problem. Too many people incarcerated in general and too many elderly folks incarcerated. Isn't that the problem? Corey Johnson with you. Got a lot more coming your way. We're just getting started on this Monday. Lots of topics, chock full on the program. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now? Winding down your workday on a Monday in style. Katie's in Mid-City, as good as it gets. You know it's the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Folks from the neighborhood come in there. When folks from other neighborhoods, other parishes come in there and it's their neighborhood restaurant, you know it's good. Go check them out. Katie's in Mid-City. What's wrong, Joe? The 286 computer ran out of cheese? Look, open up that little cage, okay? Take that stick. Put another little cube of cheese on. Oh, there you go. Let him run. Let him run.
About you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
An artist was born that would rival Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo. Please welcome the greatest performer ever to have graced this earth,
Corey Johnson.
Nicely done.
Joe, you notice I'm pointing. Those are relatives and friends, which waving just to the general public. Now, Joe, I am using the front of my hand. You see the palm. I could be like Saddam Hussein, kind of the ownership role, the back of the hand. This is I own you. I own you, people. He isn't saying hi, saying ownership, saying hi, Saddam, saying hi to himself. Yeah, you don't want to see the knuckles. That isn't a wave. That's I own you. I own you. It's Mussolini up here. Oh boy. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, you right. Thanks for joining us. Talking to Joe during the break. Where can you get a good fried shrimp platter or fried shrimp a poor boy sandwich? Where can you get a good fried shrimp po' boy or a fried shrimp platter? Yeah, I spoke with Frank Brightson about this last week. Spoke with him a few months ago about it. Because he had this great etouffee, crawfish etouffee. Most places you go to a restaurant, crawfish etouffee, it's not going to be good, okay? It's going to be like tomatoey and just out of a can tasting crawfish etouffee, you know? I guess if you were like in Alaska and someone was serving that, you're like, damn, that's sort of almost authentic. But down here, it's like, I don't want to eat it. It's just boring, dull, not good. It's like jambalaya. Most people's jambalaya is just not good. It's like drudging through it. It's like edible. It's not like it's horrible, but it's not good. I was talking last week about good hamburger. Most people do a bad hamburger. Fried shrimp po' boy. Most places do it poorly. The thing I don't understand about frying shrimp, Joe, you're walking down like a dusty trail, like in a kid's schoolyard where you're like, you know, the kid's pathway, it's just dusty dirt, you know? If you drop a shrimp that's dry, is it just going to come back clean or all that dirt's going to be coating that shrimp? That dust is going to be basically coating that shrimp. It's going to be as dark. You might not see it on the ground because it's covered in the dust, right? You flip it over, roll it in. You shake that shrimp. Is the dust coming off, or it's still dusted? If you physically shake the shrimp. So here's the tip, boys and girls, on the best fried shrimp in the world. It's real simple. Ideally, devein the shrimp. That's nice. Don't need the poop line. And then the fat side of the shrimp, opposite of the tail, just take a paring knife and just sort of, butterfly it a little, like cut it in half. So essentially the shrimp has 3 equal pieces. The tail and the fat part is split into 2, and pretty much they're 3 equal size pieces. So that's going to cook all the same. Now, that's a minor detail. You can skip over that one if you want, but I like it. I think it's important. And then take some fish fry or whatever product you like, just the original, not seasoned. Add a little salt. Add a little black pepper. You can hit a little pop of cayenne in there if you want. Don't really even think it's necessary. A little salt and black pepper. Take the shrimp, you wash them, you've cut them, the fat end, you split it into, butterflied it. You wash them, you dry the shrimp thoroughly where they're dry. There's no water on the shrimp. But boy, those little devils are still pretty sticky. You might be able to throw them against the wall and they might stick to the wall, especially the ones that are butterflied. It's like 3 legs now. You take those shrimp, you put them in the fish fry or whatever product, kind of lightly shake off the excess. Drop it in hot oil. And the oil, you want it very hot. And 2, you want to do small batches. You put 30 shrimp in there, you're taking the temperature down from the oil big time. Big time. Unless it's some professional, oiler, oil fryer. But then still, it's a lot of shrimp, especially cold and refrigerated. And that's not a bad way to fry shrimp either, cold from the refrigerator, because it sears the outside. But you want the oil hot, and you want to do small batches, which is a pain. You basically have to distribute them out while people are eating. Here's 2 or 3 hot shrimp for you and the other 6, 7 people you're feeding. You can only do about 10, 12, 15, 18 at a time unless you have a huge pot of oil. Then you can do larger portions, but still not too many, not like 50. And then you got to kind of move them around, those shrimp, with like a fork or some kind of metal utensil, kind of keep them moving around a little bit. About half the time they're frying, you're moving them around a little bit. You don't want to beat them up and bang them around and try to knock off any of that light dusted fish fry or whatever product you're using. And then you just pull them out when they're golden brown, put them on some tissue paper, put a little, paper towel, whatever, put a little lemon on them, some ketchup, whatever you want. Best damn fried shrimp anywhere. They're light, they're crispy, they're not greasy at all. Since there's no batter, the outside crust or batter doesn't fall off. Fried shrimp where the batter's falling off, your fingers are all greasy. That's not good fried shrimp. That's just some lump that's going to be in your stomach afterwards. I want some good, crispy fried shrimp. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. Texas officially sends a request to Louisiana for our National Guard troops to help with their border. They're essentially asking other states to absorb this cost. And you could say, we're all for it. We're no, but Louisiana's a poor state. Texas is a rich state. There's probably other states that are doing better, like Georgia they can go to, or Florida. And then are they going to help us? Are they going to help us? Like Governor Abbott and the National Guard's coming down to Grand Isle to move rocks for coastal erosion projects or something? Is Texas going to help us? Because we need to ask other states to absorb the costs of our coastline disappearing. Why hasn't that been happening for a while now?
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. Then we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Exciting and new. Love is exciting and new if two things are involved. That it's exciting and that it's new. Otherwise, it's not going to be exciting and new. It's just love. But love is a good thing. Hey, it's Corey Johnson with you. For the next hour, we're talking about love. Let it flow. And we've got a great show lined up for you. The bartender and the captain from the Love Boat. Mr. Drew Brees bailing me out. I don't want to talk to Gopher, the bartender, or the captain of the Love Boat. And we're not talking about love. We're talking about hate. It's the hate program. Corey Johnson back at you. I like love. I don't like hate. Hate is a big waste of time. It really is. Because chances are the what you hate, they're unaware of it because they're a thing. Or if they're a human, they're unaware of it or don't care. It's a spinning your wheels type of dilemma. Corey Johnson with you Monday afternoon, 5 o'clock power hour coming your way. Yeah, you right. 5 o'clock power hour this afternoon brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Boy, is that part of the fabric of this city. Leidenheimer French bread. There's a restaurant in town. It is unbelievable, Joe. I would go to get a to-go order at this place. I'm going to let people know what it is soon enough. I just figure I'm talking about Leidenheimer right now. But I get like a to-go order, and to me, it's a 4-course meal, and you're going to think I'm joking. 4-course meal. I have to pay for 3 of the 4 courses. I get the chicken. I get a little side salad with this nice dressing they have that travels well, and it's good. And then I get the mashed potatoes. So I get the chicken and the mashed potatoes, this salad. And then it comes with a little mini loaf of Leidenheimer, the little mini loaf with room temperature butter in a little plastic to-go container. So it's a little freebie. It's a little perk from the restaurant. But to me, I'm not kidding you. It's like a 4-course meal. I'm as excited about eating because I put the bread in the oven. I get it piping hot. It's crispy on the outside. Like when I'm pulling it out with my bare hand, it's like could burn my hand almost. Piping hot on the outside, that crispy outside, and you break it open, just steam pouring out. I pull a little of the inside out and coat it with some of that room temperature butter. I can knock out the whole mini loaf. And I'm not kidding. I'm not saying this because it's like he's talking about Leidenheimer. He's just going to say this. It really takes a lot off the meal for me. And it becomes a 3-course meal. And I'm not trying to be like cheap or tight, but it's like, it's really not worth it. They needed to throw in the loaf of Leidenheimer and the room temperature butter because it's sort of pricey, this chicken and this mashed potatoes and this salad I get to go. And now they're not serving Leidenheimer, and the bread they gave me was absolutely horrendous. Just this big, heavy loaf, just terrible. So no, those folks better get their act together. I've already sort of sent an email to like the powers that be, like, what gives, guys? Why would you get rid of something that's excellent, the mini loaf of Leidenheimer French bread, and bring in something that's, it isn't like, hey, that the new French bread you brought in is pretty good. I like Leidenheimer better. Wish you would have stayed with Leidenheimer. It's like, the new stuff you brought in is absolutely terrible. And you had excellence. You had Leidenheimer, as good as it gets. And now you have something that's kind of bad. No, it's just very disappointing. No, the high-quality restaurants in the city's finest restaurants, they're serving Leidenheimer French bread. And you know the drill when it comes to a real, authentic New Orleans-style po' boy. If it's not on Leidenheimer French bread, chances are it's not a real, authentic New Orleans-style po' boy. Leidenheimer really is the official French bread of New Orleans. It's the official po' boy French bread of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread. Leidenheimer Baking Company, 5 o'clock power hour on this Monday. Brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. An absolutely full slate. Lots of topics. UNO down to 6,600 students for the spring semester 2024. 6,600. That's down another few hundred from last semester. I want to say last semester they were 7,100, 7,000, something like that. 6,600 students out at the lakefront. 5,500 undergrad, about 1,100 postgrad. In 1961, they had 3,000 students. Sometime in the mid to late 60s, they hit 6,600, around 7,000. Like what they've got today. 60 years ago, same enrollment at UNO as today. And this is a school that in the late 60s had 10,000 plus. By the early 80s, had over 16,000 students. By the 90s, heading into the early 2000s, they peaked out, I think it was 18,200, 18,600, 18,800, 18,000 plus at one time. 6,600 students now out at the lakefront. UNO is beyond broken. How to fix UNO? I mean, UNO should be, it's the University of New Orleans, should have like the second largest enrollment in the state. It used to. LSU was number one at about 32,000. They're still number one. They're at about 36,000 now in Baton Rouge. Delgado, with all their satellite campuses, they're the number 2 university in the state, or college. They're a junior college, Delgado, not a university. But all their satellite campuses, coupled with the City Park main campus, they've got 20,000 plus students. UNO should be the second largest enrollment. In Hammond, it's been a flip-flop. Used to be Hammond with 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 students and UNO in the teens. Now it's Southeastern and Hammond with 14,200 students. North of 14,000 students in Hammond. And UNO is down to 6,600. About a third from their peak. There's something very, very wrong, alarming, discerning about that. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. The legislative crime special session is underway, a special session on crime. Bring back safety in our communities. I'm all for that. Anyone who's against that has a problem. That, yeah, I want to bring back safety, but no. It's just a statement. It's like, when you're thirsty, drink water. There's no, yeah, but better be in a clean container. We know all that. Just the simple concept, bring back safety in our communities. Everyone has to be for that. Everyone has to acknowledge our communities aren't safe and they need to be safer. I just don't know what a couple of Jeff Landry's initiatives, carry out death row executions. I don't know what that accomplishes. That doesn't deter anyone. Dude, don't go in there. You might get the death penalty. It's not happening. restrict parole eligibility. I didn't know that was a problem. I thought the opposite was a problem. Too many incarcerated people in Louisiana, nonviolent BS crimes, and then too many elderly incarcerated people in Louisiana. You know how much it costs to put someone in Angola, taxpayer money for a year? In between $25,000 and $30,000 a person. Think about that. 25 to 30 grand a person. Now you can do the math on that. It means every 25, 30 years, it's $1 million. So these lifers that have been in there, 50, 60 years, $2 million each. I don't know, maybe put that into education and things of that nature, job opportunity, things like that. Wow. The NOPD is looking for some clowns, a stolen Corvette, stunt driving, doing the drifting on St. Claude at St. Roch about 9 days ago before Mardi Gras. 2 a.m. Sunday morning before Mardi Gras. Malik Wallace, Diana Perez, you're wanted for stealing the Corvette, for hitting someone while doing the drifting, evading arrest. Malik Wallace, Diana Perez. No drifting. Hey, no drifting for you either. Stay there. We're coming right back. No drifting.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
We're doing the boogie. I'm pointing my fingers. Joe, there was one guy, it's sad, I don't dance, so I shouldn't make fun of anyone. But all this dude did, and he was content with it. He just would go like this. Just hands to the left, hands to the right. And I was like, all right. Now, that I have no real regrets in life, really, but dancing might be one. I wish I could dance a little bit.
Yeah, having a dance at my wedding gave me panic attacks for about a week leading up to it.
Yep. I actually went and took some dancing lessons for my wedding. That's how dedicated I was. And I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up to be funny on the radio. Why would I do something self-deprecating just to make people laugh? This dance lady, first off, a friend of mine's dad is a fantastic dancer, okay? Like goes to Jeremy Davenport at the Ritz and dances like on Friday and Saturday night, okay? He's looking for great dance partners. He's not looking for just somebody that he can dance, all different kind of dances. So he wants someone that's a great dancer like him. He dances with this lady that was teaching me. She told him, she said, I've never taught anyone in my life that has less rhythm. She was like, he's a horrible dancer. Just absolutely horrendous. Just couldn't do it. Joe, I think I needed to be like drugged. Like seriously, like they injected something into Corey before he went in the dance studio. I don't know what it is. Exactly. I just cannot. It's unbelievable. And this woman she didn't say it like mean or vindictively. They were just having a conversation like, boy, those potholes in Lakeview are terrible for your car. Corey Johnson is the worst dancer I've ever tried to teach. And she's taught hundreds of people. So I'm like, the worst.
It's kind of an honor when you think about it.
Maybe, but years later, somebody's like, I realize not gone. She's like, no. This guy, Corey Johnson, clearly worse than you, Jimmy. Keep trying. Anyway, I don't even remember any of my wedding. Do you, Joe?
Bits and pieces. I remember taking some photographs, saying some sweet things, drinking. That's about it.
I don't even remember that you were there. How's that make you feel, Joe?
Exactly.
Did you arrive late with Graffinini or something? Were y'all doing like a game somewhere else?
Maybe. I don't remember. It's been a minute.
I heard it was a great wedding. Lots of good food and bands. I honestly don't remember a damn thing about it.
You looked nice, though.
I did? That's good. All right. Moving on from that nonsense during the 5 o'clock power hour on a Monday, a lot of stuff. UNO down to 6,600 students. Legislative special session on crime underway. The NOPD looking for the stolen Corvette, doing the stunt driving the Sunday before Mardi Gras, St. Claude at St. Roch about 9 days ago. Malik Wallace, Diana Perez. You know where they are? Call the cops. Texas officially sends a request for Louisiana's National Guard troops to help with their border crisis. They're talking about a March deployment. It's going to cost Louisiana taxpayers to start about $3 million. Texas is asking other states to absorb the cost. Now, I'm just a little perplexed here. Texas is a very wealthy, rich state. Believe me, they'll tell you as much. Harris County in Houston has a larger population than the state of Louisiana. Do you need me to say it again? Harris County in Houston has a larger population than the state of Louisiana. Houston, almost 7 million people in the metro. Dallas, over 7 million in the metro. So here's Texas with not one, but two mega cities, just explosive growth cities. Houston and Dallas is as big as dynamic growth as anywhere in America, just climbing up the charts. Population gains every year. It just doesn't stop. Then you have San Antonio, which is 2.5 million plus folks. And scary to say, the cultural center of Texas. There was culture in San Antonio. Then you have Austin, which is 2 million plus and booming. It's like a Nashville. I mean, Texas is like, hey, Georgia, you got Atlanta? We got Dallas or Houston to compete against you. Hey, Nashville, we got Austin. Hey, Charlotte, we got San Antonio. They're like, so Texas with 30 million people, you know, New York's 20 million or so, Florida, 21 million, Texas, 30 million, California, 40 million, second most populous state, like 10 million more people than New York or Florida in Texas, basically. 10 million more. They're a rich state. They have a problem at their border. Let them deal with it. Doesn't affect us in the least bit. And they don't give a crap about our border at all. I don't get it. How am I wrong on this? How am I wrong on this? You could argue they're more affected by our disappearing coast, because maybe it's their coast next. No, it's mind-blowing. We're going to spend $3 million plus in taxpayer money. Texas asking other states to help absorb this cost. They want other states to send in the National Guard. Texas is a rich state. They can pay for it themselves. You know what all this is? Texas requesting other wacky right-wing extremists to jump on board strictly so you can join the political party. That's all it is. You can use this to get your base all lathering at the mouth, all fired up. This is for re-election to appease your base. Because Louisiana's National Guard, they'd be better off on our coastline, you know, moving rocks, getting in bulldozers and moving, you know, sand and building barrier islands and the like. They'd be better off in New Orleans digging retention ponds so we don't flood every time it rains. Texas officially sends a request for Louisiana's National Guard. Texas is asking other states to absorb the cost. Is Texas and other states, are they going to come to South Louisiana to help us absorb costs for our coastal erosion problem? Do you think that for a second? We have our own problem with Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico. I don't get that. On a lighter note, where can I get a really good crispy, not greasy, no batter falling off, fried shrimp platter or po' boy? Where? Because it's hard to find. Most folks mess it up. And I think a lot of folks, I mean, I'll say it, I guess I'm kind of like a food snob or something like that. I'm not saying it's a positive or a negative, or I'm better than you or less than you or whatever, just how it is. I think most folks settle. They pretty much eat anything. I mean, I don't know. I see the hot dogs twirling on the thing at the Exxon. I see people in line with the nachos. I mean, pretty much eat anything. I'll admit, like, if you wanted to see me literally gag where my eyes were bulging out of my head and then proceeded to throw up, give me like a spoonful of Wendy's chili or a loaded up Lucky Dog in the quarter, I would literally gag. I'm not kidding you. I would gag eating that. I can't eat that kind of stuff. I know a lot of you do. That's fine. I'm not, like I said, it's not better, worse, less, or whatever. But in New Orleans, there's too much good food. Just we live to eat, not eat to live. And there's just so much good food everywhere at all different kind of price points. For me, it just makes no sense to eat the crap like the Anywhere USA stuff. I mean, every now and then you might crave something like that, but I'm kind of running from that stuff. Anyway, most folks in Metro New Orleans, shrimp po' boy, shrimp platter, they mess it up. Greasy, the batter falls off the shrimp. Just not good, not crispy, not tasty, but heavy and greasy and just nasty, and then just a bloated feeling afterwards. Fried like that, oil not hot enough, absorbing the grease, crust falling off the shrimp. Don't want to eat that. Hey, TV audience, we'll see you mañana, straight up 4 o'clock. Every day, 4 to 5:30 on television throughout the state of Louisiana. Cox Channel 4 TV, or Cox subscriber. I'm there every day. Cox Channel 4, weekdays at 4. 90 minutes of fun. You Charter TV subscribers, a.k.a. Spectrum Channel 333, 4 to 5:30 weekdays. Yeah, you right. No, I find it amazing that Louisiana is going to send their National Guard. This is just Jeff Landry doing a political game, appeasing right-wingers. They're obsessed with illegals. It's fun. Sadly, you can take this however you want, and you can justify it, and you will, and you'll say I'm full of crap or I'm liberal or whatever. Illegal aliens, undocumented workers have been part of the fabric of America since day one. It's nothing new. It's not something that just popped up. They've been here forever. If you like strawberries or seafood or chicken or any poultry, any meat product, steaks, hamburgers, pork, milk from like a dairy, fruits and vegetables, if you like them at the prices they are now, not 2 or 3 times, 4 times higher, not even available, then get rid of all the illegals and undocumented workers. They do all that crap work no one wants to do. Always have. They bust their chops. Their kids get degrees. They stay in America. They pay sales taxes everywhere. They're not sending back all the money to Mexico. And we get something out of it. Somebody needs to do a real full-blown dissertation on taxes not paid by undocumented illegal workers, health care when we take care of them when they get sick or injured, compared to costs of chicken and meat and seafood and vegetables and fruits, and how it balances off. You know how it balances off. This is capitalism. There's a reason we allow it. This happened years ago, and it just happened in the last few months. First off, farmers, folks that own farms, dairy farmers, folks that own farms that they grow crops, meat packing industry, almost all of it, Republican conservatives, almost all. Farmers aren't liberals, they're conservatives. Ask them about illegal or undocumented workers. You want to cripple that industry? Go talk to the right-wing conservative dairy farmers in upstate New York. They're basically like, want to pay $28 a gallon for milk when it's available and on the shelf? Like, it won't even be on the shelf, and it's going to be $30 a gallon. Like, literally. They don't even joke around. They're not laughing. They're not wink. They're not maybe. The dairy industry in the U.S. totally relies on undocumented workers, illegal aliens, if you want to call them that. Meat packing industry, farming. Are you kidding? Anything that's labor intensive where you can't run a John Deere tractor over with a big harvester, and it needs people, it's all illegals or undocumented workers. Is there a crisis at the border? Yes. It goes up and down all the time. It's at an all-time high right now. Republicans right now really don't want to fix it because Trump said don't fix it, so they can blame it on Biden later. Biden seems ready to fix it. Biden's going again. Like, liberals are foaming at the mouth. The hardcore loony left, they think Biden's selling out by willing to shut down the border. But Republicans don't want to shut down the border now, or at least indirectly don't. And here's the biggest gimmick of all. 90% of the time, it is a gimmick. It's a joke. It's a political thing to get you all mad. Like, you get upset, and then like how life used to be and when times were better, these people you blame. Like, it's not only a problem, but why your life sucks, you can blame these people too. It's a 2-for-1, 3-for-1. It motivates you to go vote. Doesn't put money in your pocket, doesn't educate your kids, doesn't build infrastructure, doesn't help the nation's defense. Nothing that's important to you in life does this border political crisis thing do anything for you. It's a Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California problem. And then when they do their little gimmick and send folks off like sanctuary city mode, believe me, in 6 months, a year, 10 years from now, there's going to be some states sending folks or something to Texas, and it'll be, quote, legal, and it'll be like, here, you handle our crap now. You handle our burden. You want to be a sanctuary city? Great. We'll make you a sanctuary city, flying the folks in. You thought it was funny, thought it was cute, cost the Florida and Texas taxpayers a lot of money. The illegals are going to come in another group anyway and take the jobs that they want. It's all a joke. It's political posturing. And you bought it and bid on it hook, line, and sinker. These right-wing, hardcore right-wing Republicans, they own you. They know it. They know it. It's no different from the loony left in New Orleans. Like, we're going to fight for the criminal and the incarcerated and not worried about keeping the city safe. You know, we got to defund the police. It's the same thing. You fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. You're suckers just like those folks because you're an extremist. And you want to believe there's this, crisis that's affecting New Orleans or Louisiana with illegal aliens. It's the opposite. Post-Katrina, they saved our ass. They saved our ass. I'm not saying there isn't a problem with Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California with the border. Other states too, maybe Colorado. Denver's taking in a lot of illegals. I'm just saying, if Texas is asking other states to bring in their National Guard and help us absorb the cost, then Louisiana should be making sure Texas and other states are going to come to South Louisiana and help absorb the costs of our coastal erosion problem, because we have a problem with Mexico too. Just happens to be the Gulf of Mexico. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. 766-9480. Did the governor really say this? This activity helps our National Guard troops, trains our Louisiana troops, keeps them ready. That's literally how the governor's justifying this. I'm pretty sure Louisiana's National Guard goes through exercises all the time. The governor say, this isn't an exercise. This is real life. It is, kind of, but the job they'll be doing is sort of exercise-ish. It's not going to be like guns are going to be fired and battles and gunfights and, people's lives at risk. It's going to be it's like when there's a storm and the National Guard comes in. Big pain in the rear end for them. A blessing for us coming to save us, but you're a National Guard, man. Idaho had flooding. You got to go to Idaho and help them. I mean, it's not, that's your job. You're going to do it, and you're glad to help people. But yeah, I love it. So fired up about leaving family and my job and maybe lose money and go help out these folks. Love it. Let's do this continuously. $3 million in Louisiana taxpayer money for this political gimmick. No, but the base loves it and will eat it up. There's no downside to Jeff Landry doing this for Jeff Landry. The only downside is for the other people in Louisiana that think it's ridiculous and know it is. $3 million does a lot for a lot of things in Louisiana. moves the needle for needy things, solves like the annual budget for lots and lots of groups that are helping out, pregnant women, children, education, things of that nature. No, the only person that benefits by this is Jeff Landry. That's it. No Louisiana citizen. I don't care how hardcore right you are, how much you like Jeff Landry outside of the fired up about this. That's the only benefit you have from it. Will not put money in your pocket, won't make you safer, won't help your kids get smarter, doesn't build a bridge or fix a pothole. It's a political joke. No, but extreme left and extreme right, they love political jokes. They love it. I hear it in New Orleans all the time. Oh, Junkie Cantrell, it's a worthy trip. It is, huh? Joe's telling me I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. The first, what is it? I can't even read my damn writing. The first racially integrated public university in the South. The first racially integrated public university in the South. You got an answer? I got 50 big bucks for you at one of the 5 Woodhouse locations. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. Who produces the local Driftwood newspaper? The local Driftwood newspaper. 766-9480. 766-9480. Where did New Orleans' own Ellen DeGeneres get her college degree? Give me the answer to any of these 3 questions. They're university education related. I got 50 big bucks for you at one of the 5 area Woodhouse locations. 766-9480. The Corey Johnson Show, the Nutrigram, where you get voices even. It's pretty incredible. He even does voices. And because I take it so seriously, that's Jimmy. Hey, I'm Jimmy. I actually have not named him until a minute ago. And tomorrow, if you say, bring up Jimmy, I won't remember this voice. I won't know what it is because I'm just doing it now. I really don't do voices. Well, Joe, I do Joe Dean, the former LSU athletic director. You remember him, Joe? Oh, string music off the bank board. I used to call in this Baton Rouge sports talk show. It's ironic, Joe. I did a show before this guy. He took things a little too seriously. And I'd call in as Joe in Baton Rouge. And have a question like, who was the NBA's #1 free throw shooter last year? And I'd call in and go, he'd go, hey, let's go to Joe in Baton Rouge. Hey, it's Joe Dean. Got to be Charlie Alexander. And the host would go, he's an old LSU football player from the 70s. What are you talking about? Like, damn it, if he played in the NBA, he would have been the #1 free throw shooter. And the guy would hang up on me all mad. It's Mark Price. That's incorrect. I get like that kind of response. And then I can't tell you the other character, Joe. I'll tell you off air that I did on this poor guy's show. Now, here's the best thing. So I'm doing the Baton Rouge gig for about 6 months. I get the New Orleans job. It's a Friday. This dude went on right before me. And he's walking out. He used to carry a cardboard box. This is like early 90s. Just full of athlons and all these sports books and stuff because there was no intranet device, So you had to pull all this stuff. We all had our little I have a bag I still have with all these books from like 91. I just kept I'll put it in a museum. Yeah, the garbage can museum. Anyway, he comes walking out the box and he's like, hey, Corey. And I was like, hey, how are you? I did my Jody. He just he stopped for a second. Just looks at me. I was like, string music off the bank board. It's got to be Charlie Alexander. He takes the box. He throws it on the ground so hard where the box explodes. Just collapses and the magazines go everywhere. You're calling my show sabotaging my show. I'm just like, dude, that's sabotaging your show. Just having fun, man. Relax. Just got into the business myself. I'm not trying to do anything to sabotage your show. If anything, I picked it up a little bit. It's dragging in the toilet. Anyway, Jodene's about the only person I can do, Joe.
And the old storyteller, the guy from the Westerns? Yeah, Joe, another heaping of beans for you. And you and Cody get on those horses. Cody, the sheriff, you're going to go skip those outlaws.
That's about all I can do, Joe. I can repeat those. That's about it. The old storyteller guy.
Hey, Grumpy, what you cooking? Hey, I think you had too many beans.
And then Jodene, Jodene, just make noises almost, Joe. Well, I can't. Oh, what? Monday? Yeah, you're right. Oh, wait, it's a Martell Monday, isn't it? Brett Martell's going to join us next. Best quality, best price, best selection. They go from selling more king cakes than anyone in the world to now selling more live, hot from the pot, ready to eat crawfish than anyone in the world, and live from the sack crawfish. Yeah, hot from the pot, boiled crawfish, ready to eat. No one sells more than Rouse's Markets. In the sack, live, ready for your crawfish boil. No one sells more anywhere in the world than Rouse's Markets. Best quality, best price, best selection. It's crawfish season. A few weeks ago, the aroma of king cakes piping through those Rouses. Now it's the scent of crawfish boiling at each and every Rouse's. Crawfish season, Rouse's Markets.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us to you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. New Orleans talk giant Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
I'll have the entire city of New Orleans
in Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Also from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida on 600 AM and 1560.
Hey, a lot of you have been heading down to your Rouse's, your grocery store, and you're like, where's the Blue Plate mayonnaise? It's where it's always been, in the jar, in the squeeze bottle, right there on the shelf. You got to look for it, though. That label you're used to seeing is gone, but that same great Blue Plate mayonnaise you love, it's inside the jar, inside that squeeze bottle. They've got a new label. That's all. New label. Same great time-honored recipe Blue Plate mayonnaise inside. A New Orleans family tradition since 1927. New look, same legendary taste. Blue Plate mayonnaise, so good. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. Lots of topics. We'll continue this one. UNO down to 6,600 students. That's crazy. Losing a few hundred more from last semester. Spring 2024, 6,600 enrolled on the lakefront. About 5,500 undergrad, about 1,100 postgrad. Legislative special session, crime session underway. NOPD looking for Malik Wallace and Diana Perez. They were in the stolen Corvette doing the stunt driving, the drifting, that accident at St. Claude, St. Roch about 9 days ago. 2 a.m. Sunday, February 11th, before Mardi Gras. Texas officially sends out a request for Louisiana's National Guard. Texas is asking Louisiana and other states to absorb the cost. Rich Texas asking poor Louisiana for help at the border. All I can say is Texas better repay back the loan like times 5 and helping us restore our coast. They're a rich state. We're a poor state. I don't get it. Oh, yeah, I do. It's all for political reasons. That's right. Hey, where do I get a really good, crispy, not greasy, no batter falling off, fried shrimp platter or fried shrimp po' boy? Maybe Brett Martell from the Associated Press knows. His new beat, I just got this news. Brett, the AP wants you covering fried shrimp po' boys and platters exclusively.
Well,
I know, it's a tough question. I don't know where a damn good one is either. And I got one today. The batter falling off the shrimp. My hands were all greasy. Very upsetting, Brett.
The last time I had one at Parkway, it was good.
Parkway's got a good fried shrimp.
Yeah.
Should I get in line now for it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I had one there. I usually get roast beef.
Hey, speaking of lines, while we fade to sports, how about Drew Brees' small sliders? I don't know if you've driven by the Clearview at Vets location. It's like 50, 60 deep in the drive-thru all the time. They must be doing 20 grand a day there. I'd like a piece of that, Brett.
Well, I went to the grand opening just because Drew was there, and I had to actually interview him for a story about officiating.
Hey, man, don't want to talk about that. All I'm talking about is small sliders, Brett.
Okay. Well, apparently they're the same as the.
Oh no, I wasn't being Corey there. I was being Drew Brees. I'm not going to talk about.
Okay. No, he did. He was really good that day. He answered all of our football questions.
Nice.
So.
I'm sure he said stuff like Saints underachieve. Derek Carr just doesn't have it. He was really saying things that were controversial and headline grabbing, right?
Well, no, but he did defend Pete Carmichael Jr. And he did really help me with my line of questioning, which was about the officiating. And we wanted his perspective as someone who 5 years earlier had gone through one of the worst officiating gaps of all time.
What did he say about officiating, generally speaking? I think, personally, NFL officiating, seriously, is extraordinary. I'm blown away at the quick second, millisecond reflexes and what these guys do. And then we see instant replay and glaring screw-ups, and we think they're terrible. But I think they get about 999 out of 1,000 calls, right? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I think one of his more interesting answers was that, I asked, what about full-time versus part-time?
Yes, yeah, I was about to say
you get robots in there, there's still going to be mistakes. And then he talked about how fast the game moves and how difficult it is to call it correctly. He just said it was really unfortunate, the mistake they made in their game, because that they felt they were a Super Bowl team.
Yep.
So
yep.
And he said that he actually has. I asked him, "Have you ever gotten over it?" And he said, "Well, you have to accept it, move on eventually, but it still brings back a lot of bad memories."
Yeah. No, that's the way to handle things like that. Exactly. It still upsets you, but you can't you have to get over it and move on. That it wasn't a guarantee, but yeah, that pretty much would have made another Super Bowl. Probably 90% chance. No, the thing, Brett, the officiating for that particular game. Besides the obvious, it's not a full-time job. That's mind-blowing. But second, instead of awarding the best officiating crew, the NFC, AFC title games, the Super Bowl, they picked the graded best at each position, as you know. So I don't know about you. I would take the Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, over the 31 other NFL teams, all-star players, in a game played the very next day.
Right, of course.
Because they're not a team yet, and the Kansas City Chiefs are. But in 6 months, that all-star team will destroy the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's kind of it's sort of a similar concept, I think.
Exactly. No, I'm with you, because there's a lot of communication that goes on during a game amongst the officials. They have to be on the same page, and they help. When they know each other well, they can help each other out. They can cover for each other. If someone didn't see it right, they can run in and they can huddle and say, okay, well, this is what did you see? This is what I saw. And they're comfortable doing that.
Yep.
Whereas guys that don't work together might be a little more
I'm not going to second guess this guy.
Yeah. Or not know how to, or not want to second guess someone if he seems certain. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's an issue, but, yep. But unfortunately, I guess it wasn't very controversial in the Super Bowl this year with the officiating. They seemed to do okay.
That was a hell of a Super Bowl, though. That was 5 quarters of fun. That was like some extra game action. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I spent the whole third quarter watching Bacchus, and I still got to see 4 quarters.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're right. You still got 60 minutes of action in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the first or maybe the second quarter would have been the best to miss. There was just so little going on. What was it, 10-3 at half?
10-3 at the half.
Something like that.
So I didn't, I missed the Chiefs scoring, I think, 10 straight points in the third quarter. And then I saw San Francisco retake the lead, and then they tied and so forth.
Yep. Hey, Brett, the Pels are playing some pretty good basketball. They're a playoff team right now. They keep doing what they're doing. They're like a 5-6 seed or something, probably. I just think it's a big step from like 5 through 8 to 1 through 4. 1 through 4, just in the West, seems in their own category.
Right. Well, in order to break new ground, they have to make the conference finals. They've been in the second round twice in their history. And they might be good enough to do that again. But if they want to break new ground, they're going to have to win 2 playoff series, which they've never done. And the way they've competed against elite teams this year, they've had a couple good victories, like they did against the Clippers that one time a couple weeks ago. But they generally have not fared well against the elite teams, which makes you think that they may not be able to win more than one series.
Uh-oh. There's Boo Boy. Brett will be checking out your stuff via the AP.
Good talking to you, Corey.
Check this out, Brett. Blue Boy's saying the Pelicans, even as the Charlotte Hornets, have won 1 7-game playoff series in their history. Just one. Brett, we'll see you next week.
All right, take care.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Bright